And once you cross the line, that line you can't go back to the other side. I think Walker's coming in for Calabria. It's clear. This little bust-up, I think Calabria is going to be on his way out, and he's been probably a weaker link for them throughout the years anyway.
Milan, they're still in 6th place, so just about in a European position. But just to touch quickly on the Conceição and Calabria, I mean, that was crazy, wasn't it?
You read it wrong on your sheet. It's the glasses.
No, but this was mad. Normally we see anything like this, we hear reports, we see that it's happened in the dressing room. For this to play out in the way that it did on the pitch, Grella?
This doesn't get, you know, they both came out after and said, oh, we sorted it, it's fine. It happened, it's an intense situation. You never get over this. When the relationship between a player and a manager is always a professional one. Even when you see them hugging and everything else, there's a big respect. And once you cross the line, that line you can't go back to the other side. I think Walker's coming in for Calabria. It's clear. This little bust-up, I think Calabria is going to be on his way out, and he's been probably a weaker link for them throughout the years anyway. But once you have this sort of bust-up in front of people, I don't think there's any healing.
He's the captain. You'd think he'd have more respect for just what Calabria has done with Milan, and then what did he say in his post-match press conference? He came out and said it's like watching your child misbehave at a restaurant.
He said, I treat my players like I treat my kids. You know, if they're at the restaurant and they're acting up, I'm going to tell them straight to the face. I don't know how Calabria will see that, but I think Grella was spot on with it. Calabria's been a player who he's there because of, he understands Milan. He's one of the few Italian players within this squad, but the performances have not been there. They brought in Emerson Royale thinking it was going to fix it. Now they bring in Kyle Walker. I can only imagine what Kyle Walker was thinking watching this game unfold, for how crazy the match was, and then he sees Conceição going after the captain of the team within this match.
Maybe similar with Pep, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, Carl's not going to be surprised at all. I think that the disappointing thing is Calabria is supposed to be the foundation of this Milan side, and when you have a player that's so important for Milan and been there for so long, having that kind of heated exchange on the pitch, that's a problem. That's the biggest problem for me. It happened on the pitch, in the stadium, where there's fans there and a lot of people there. Those type of things happen a lot in training ground. That's fine. Yeah. In the training ground, behind closed doors, that's fine. It happens all the time. But when you do that there, it's not a great look for Conceição as the manager, because your responsibility, you're supposed to hold yourself at a higher regard there and have that responsibility to direct these players. But when you're doing that, you could lose some respect in the dressing room from some of the players, which can be a danger. And it's trying to be the alpha. I'm in charge. This, that. For me, I don't think that's.
We don't know what happened, though. We don't know.
It doesn't matter what
Calabria said. We don't know what Calabria did. We have no idea. There's so many rumors out there on what was happening the day before.
It doesn't matter what is said. You're the manager. The responsibility falls on you. You're like it's your job. He could say whatever he wants to say. Take it in the dressing room, in the tunnel. Don't put it out there in front of fans and people to see, because that's happened, this is why we're having this conversation.
I don't disagree, but what I mean is I don't think he's going to lose a locker room just because
I didn't say a locker room.
You can see even Theo Hernandez, there's another video of Theo Hernandez going over, trying to pull Conceição back, even though he was just subbed off. Yeah, exactly. So it's a weird situation.
I never said lose a locker room. I said for some players, they might not say anything, but they're witnessing now. I'm telling you, the footballers are a lot more intelligent than some people realise.
Are you saying you'd lose respect for a manager that did that?
It depends what gets said. It depends what gets said in the situation, and it depends on my relationship with Calabria. So, yeah, but then it still depends on my relationship with Calabria, because I could be on Calabria's side. I don't have to say it there in the public domain. I might start looking at him, okay, so I know what you're about now. That's the problem when, as a manager, you're in charge of responsibility. You lose yourself in those moments. You cause more problems for yourself.
But the reality is now Kyle Walker's in, so Calabria is on the outs, which probably in some ways played a factor in all of this.
It's possible. It's possible. And at the end of the day, look, it can happen. We don't exactly know what was said. But if I saw those clips and didn't know the players, didn't know the faces, right, I would think it was a small club. I wouldn't think it was AC Milan that was doing that kind of stuff in San Siro. A club like Milan, with its history and where it's at, and the level of the players and the level of the managers, you normally don't see things like that. So it's just it's like a low-level thing that regardless of what was said, probably shouldn't happen. Nobody wins.
If you were Calabria in that situation, Grella, how would you have reacted? You would have walked in?
Are you kidding me? Sure. You would have walked in?
Yeah, I would have walked in.
Didn't you say you've attacked your manager before?
Well, yeah, I got attacked first.
Okay, so Conceição's getting attacked.
We've both been attacked first.
I'm always going to protect myself.
We've both been attacked first.
This to you, Grella.
No.
Do you know what? The thing is, though, we always say, for me, I've always had this mindset of if you want to be the best, you look at the best. You look at what AC Milan is supposed to be competing against, Inter Milan and Napoli. Do we ever see those type of situations at those clubs? Or do we see managers who that's the
But
boss,
we've seen
they're in
heated
charge?
exchanges.
We
We
see
have. Conte,
as
I remember
much
one
like
time
that?
Conte, when he was on Inter and Lautaro came off, he said something that I can't even say. Fenomeno del something, and you could fill in the
What
rest.
does that translate to?
Phenomenal, like you think you're a phenom.
You think you're the best player. So there's been heated exchanges.
Yeah,
Am I
but
saying
to that
goal
level,
and
though.
hitting him? No, it's a little bit different. But sometimes maybe you need this. And I think Calabria, while he's important in a symbolic way, he hasn't been important on the pitch for quite some time for Milan.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Because they won today, and you feel like that would carry a lot of momentum into a big Champions League week for them, where they must win as well. And now it's kind of dampened the atmosphere.
Overshadows the win.
At San Siro. Yeah, it definitely does.